DEXE dropped 86.9% in the 7 days after our screen flagged it on July 15th. That's the biggest move of any call this week. Every flag from last week is now fully graded, and we're walking through all of it. The best call, the worst call, and everything in between. No advice, just what the numbers did. This week, 60 calls from the screen reached their 7-day verdict. 17 moved at least 15%, the bar the screen uses to call a move big enough to matter. Let's start at the top. BTC gained 35.9% in the week after it was flagged on July 16th for trading volume running more than 4 times its usual 7-day pace. Far more of the coin was changing hands than normal. It's this week's best call. Up next, CoinGecko. It climbed 25.6% after a July 15th flag, triggered by volume unusually high next to its size. About 27% of its entire market value changed hands in the period measured. PI rose 23.6% in the 7 days after its July 14th flag. Before that, it had swung hard, down 16.2% in a single day, down 35% over the prior week, with volume running 3 times its usual level. VSN gained 18% after a July 17th flag. Volume there ran nearly 4 times its normal 7-day pace. And NDO added 11.1% after a July 19th flag, also tied to volume running over 3 times its usual level. That's the winning side. Now for the calls where the flag came first and the drop came after. DCR fell 16.1% after a July 13th flag. It had spiked 35.3% in a single day and 34.9% over the week, on volume running 27 times its normal level. Kite dropped 16.8%, the same size as the single-day jump on July 13th that got it flagged in the first place. Then XEC, down 21.1% after a July 19th flag. It had already climbed 68.2% over the previous week, and more than half its market value was changing hands. DRV lost 21.2% after a July 15th flag, its volume running 94 times its usual 7-day level right after a 37.8% weekly climb. And the worst of the week, DEXE, down 86.9% over the 7 days after its July 15th flag, which came after a 33.6% run-up the week before. Add it all up, and this week's batch of 60 calls landed a 33% accuracy score by the screen's own definition. That's rougher than the screen's average over the past month, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's look closer at DEXE, the week's biggest mover. On July 15th, the screen flagged it after a 33.6% jump over the prior 7 days, big enough to catch its attention. From there, the chart tells the story. Instead of continuing higher, DEXE turned and fell, and kept falling through the week. By the time the 7 days were up, it had dropped 86.9% from where it stood at the flag. That's most of the coin's value gone in a single week. The chart shows a steady slide rather than one bad day, and what followed erased that original 33.6% gain many times over. Nothing in our numbers points to a single event behind the drop. Just the outcome. A coin flagged for a big run-up saw an even bigger reversal on the other side. This is exactly the kind of move the screen is built to catch after the fact. It doesn't predict where a coin goes next. It grades what already happened once the 7 days are up. Now the other direction. BTC posted the biggest move against this week's overall pattern, up 35.9% in the 7 days after its July 16th flag. The screen picked it up because trading volume was running more than 4 times its usual 7-day level, a sign of unusually heavy activity. Unlike DEXE's slide, BTC's chart moved the other way from day 1. It climbed steadily and stayed close to its highs through the rest of the week, finishing near its best level of the period. By day 7, that 35.9% gain made BTC the single biggest move in the opposite direction of anything else graded this week. 2 coins, both flagged for unusual trading activity, landed on opposite ends of the outcome table. That's the point of grading every call, win or lose. The screen doesn't know in advance which way a flagged coin will move. It only knows something about its trading looked unusual enough to watch. Zoom out to the last 30 days and the screen has graded 180 flags. It was right 43% of the time. Here's exactly what that means. A call counts as right when a flagged coin then moved at least 15% in either direction, or when a coin the screen did not flag stayed under that 15% threshold over the following week. Both count as a correct call. This is not 43% of flagged coins went up. It says nothing about direction, and nothing about what happens after the 7 days end. A flagged coin that spiked and kept climbing, like BC, and one that spiked and reversed hard, like DEXE, count the same way in this number. It's simply how often the screens read, "This looks unusual," or "This looks normal," matched what actually happened. Some weeks land better than others. This week's batch of 60 calls came in at 33% by that same measure, below the 30-day average of 43%. Looking ahead, the screen has already flagged 6 coins in the past few days: BCAP, DEXE, Grok, Earneth, and GRX. These are fresh flags. None of them has a 7-day verdict yet. That grading happens next Sunday, right here on this channel. DEXE shows up again, this time as a brand new flag, rather than last week's graded call. Keep an eye on how these 6 move over the coming days. We're not saying which direction any of them will go, only that each one showed something unusual enough for the screen to flag it: a volume spike, a sharp price swing, or heavy turnover relative to size. Next week, we'll walk through what happened to all 6, the same way we just walked through this week's 60. A quick word on what this accuracy number does and doesn't tell you. The screen flags unusual trading activity, big volume, sharp price swings, heavy turnover relative to a coin size. It does not flag direction. A flagged coin can move up or down, and either outcome can still count as a right call, because a material move cuts both ways. A 43% match rate over 30 days means the screen's read is right less than half the time by this strict definition. That's the honest number, and we're not rounding it up. This is an observation, not advice. We're describing what already happened to numbers that are now public, nothing more. None of it tells you what happens next for any coin. It only tells you how the screen's read compared to what already played out. Markets are also sitting in fear right now, with the Fear and Greed Index at 26, which is context for how this week's swings landed. That's the full scorecard. 60 calls graded. Best to worst, no cherry picking. The screen runs every day, and every flag gets graded in public 7 days later, whether the outcome looks good or not. Subscribe to catch the daily flags as they happen, and come back next Sunday for the grades on BCAP, DEXE, Grok, Earneth, and GRX. That is the first print.